Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome back. We're here.
We are here.
We're in the middle of a very fun little stretch of guests. We're so excited.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I know. This has been really fun.
Yeah. I mean, when this episode, I was going to say Thanksgiving's next week, but then I was like, well, it's probably past at this point.
Yeah. So for us in the past, it's almost Thanksgiving. When you hear this, we're talking to the people of the future. Thanksgiving has come and gone.
I'm
Did
still
you
not
have
used
fun?
to that.
I know.
Cam, I have a question for you.
Oh my God. Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm so glad you asked. You are such a gentleman. I'm doing really well.
Good.
You know, like I'm doing very well.
Okay, good.
I feel happy. I'm thriving. I feel rested. I survived October.
All right.
I'm settled into my new place. Life is good.
All right.
Thank you so much for asking.
I know.
How are you?
On the way in the car today, I was like, I can't forget.
No, you can't. How are you doing?
Third strike, you know.
Are you good?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. No complaints.
Great.
I get to go to Cabo this weekend for my
Hell
last wedding of the year,
yes.
and I have an all-inclusive resort, and I'm just gonna drink margaritas for 4 days.
That's literally perfect. That's what all my days look like.
Yeah.
It seems these days. I did 2 rounds of Taco Tuesday
for me,
yesterday.
this will be the first time in a long time I've been
Dude,
alone, so
yes,
it'll be good.
You have earned that.
I'm very excited. Very excited. Okay, well, I'm gonna read a quick review, which I just lost.
You just made it go away.
Damn it. Okay,
Do
1
better.
second. Stand by.
Stand
We want to gloat about
by.
ourselves, so just like let us do that. It's gonna take an extra second. All right, so this review comes from Faye Talbot. I think I said that correctly. 5 stars, of course. Please make merch with your catchphrases.
Wait, but what's the title? It's
spicy and they know it.
It's spicy and they know it.
Man.
That just came to me. Whatever. I didn't even prepare that. It's spicy and they know it. Okay, go on.
Anyway, please make merch with your catchphrases. That's definitely in the plan. I'm eagerly awaiting the chance to wear a graphic tee that reads bum dum bum bum ba-dum, it's spicy. That's your line. That's not mine.
You didn't even know how to read that. It's spicy.
Like I never do bum ba-dum.
No, that's me. Yeah.
Okay, well, that will be one. Well, you know what, Faye? I want to make a promise, but I feel like I shouldn't.
You don't.
But we will hopefully work on
wow.
making that specific graphic
just for her.
Okay, well, anyways, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Today we have another very, very exciting guest.
Another legend.
You may know her as From the Daisies, or you may know her as Stephanie Fisher, and she is with us all the way from Boulder, Colorado.
Which I just learned is 16 hours away from where we are in San Diego, because I almost want to go get that dog she has on her bed. So I just found out exactly how far she is from me, and we're going to talk about that after this.
You think she's joking? She's not.
Though, yeah. I want another dog, and I think I want that one.
She's great.
Well, we already love her so much, and my wife specifically, Michelle, is obsessed with Stephanie. So we know that you will love her too. So hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Do you go by
You
Steph?
guys are hilarious. Yes.
Yeah.
I can go by whatever you want.
Okay,
No,
well, I'm
I
gonna keep
don't
calling you Stephanie. So yeah, I guess why don't we just get right into it? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Right now, you live in Boulder. Where are you from? What do you do? Go on.
Tell us
it all.
Okay.
Say more.
Stephanie, I'm originally from Illinois.
Illinois.
Yes, small Midwestern town.
Not Chicago?
Not Chicago. It's
Okay.
like cornfields galore. It's heaven though. I love it. Not
Oh,
moving
wow.
back,
Okay,
though.
good. No, of course not. But you like to
Hell
visit.
no. Yes, I love to visit. Yes. Went to college in Illinois, got my degree in biology, surprising enough.
Biology.
Yes.
Interesting. We have a
I know.
studious one at our hands.
I love the science, but
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
haven't used the degree a day of my life, but
Oh.
that's all right. Yeah, I actually moved out to Colorado, followed my husband when he graduated, and I was going to go to school at CU and get my master's. But
In
turns out-
biology?
In microbiology. Yeah.
Nerd alert.
Even more nerdy. Even nerdier.
I know. But it's real expensive, turns out, especially if you're out of state. So I was like, I'm just going to take a year off. Like I'll do some like weddings, because I was just kind of doing it as a hobby at the time. I was like, I'll do some photography, save up, but then it kind of just took off, and I feel like this is just the path I was supposed to be on. So haven't looked back.
So you literally never worked a day with like using biology or anything like that in any sort of
Well, I did some like internships, I guess.
Okay.
So I did that, but yeah, as far as like getting into that corporate world and actually getting a real life job, no.
While you were in college, did you like studying biology?
Oh my gosh, loved it. Loved
Okay.
it. Oh my gosh. I would actually go back, like
Okay.
no question, but I mean, I'm so passionate about photography now, and it's
Mhm.
so great to have this job, like being a mother and a wife, and the science days are in the past.
Yeah.
Science days.
That was going to be my next question is like, would you consider doing something like that, I guess, in the future, like using it in, I don't know, some way? Or do
I
you just
thought
like
about
love the
it.
art so much that it just kind of trumps the other?
Yeah, I think so.
Passion.
I mean, I thought about it, like the research I did. I actually got published for some of the research I did. And so I love the research path of it.
Super nerd.
I know, I am a nerd.
I love it. I love it. I never knew that. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
I didn't peg you. as a
Good for
dork.
you. Good for you,
Thanks.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought about going back into that, doing like a pathology route and working in the lab, because I could still use my degree. After so long, did you know your degree kind of like expires?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have one.
Hey, you don't need one.
College
You don't need
dropout.
one.
You say this like this was breaking news to you. You're
Yeah.
like, oh no, my degree I don't have.
That's why I didn't
What am I
know.
gonna
It's
do?
'cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am
But
I gonna do?
yeah.
So did you meet your husband in college?
Yep. We met in
And then-
college.
Did you go straight to Boulder?
Yep.
Okay.
Straight to Boulder.
So how long
Yeah.
have you been there then?
Well, we moved here after college for only like a year and a half. And then Nick is even more impressive than me. He's like, he got an awesome job opportunity in Arizona. So we moved to
Okay.
Arizona, and then he got an even better opportunity in Manhattan. So we moved to Manhattan.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah. And then
Did you have
was
kids in
there-
Manhattan or no?
Yeah, we had Stevie in New York. That
Wow.
was a bonkers. We literally brought her home in a taxi because we're like, what do we
Yes,
do?
cute.
Like, we don't have a car. I'm just trusting this like taxi driver to take my newborn home. It was
I would
crazy.
never have thought of that.
That was like a
Yeah.
movie moment.
So
That's like a
interesting.
TV show moment.
Yeah,
It's
it
awesome.
Yeah. It was
Aw.
crazy.
I bet that's like a core memory. Bringing
Yeah, it
Stevie
was.
home in a
Ugh.
taxi.
New York it's just magical. It's
Oh, I
magical.
love
But it's not kid friendly. If we didn't have kids, I think we'd be there 110%. It's
That's
so
what I told
inspiring,
Michelle.
So incredible. Yeah, but not kid friendly. I mean,
No.
no.
we were there a couple weeks ago and we were just like watching like kids that were in school. They would be at Central Park. And I was just like, this looks so stressful.
Yes, it's terrible.
don't
And it's
even wanna think about it.
disgusting. Like,
Yeah.
we would literally wipe our dog's paws after taking them out, like walking on the sidewalks
Yeah.
and stuff.
Makes sense.
Because it was disgusting.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So then you came back to Boulder. Was that recent then?
Yes, came back to Boulder about 2 years ago, just because we were like, where do we like? Oh, after New York, we moved to Santa Monica for a little bit too, because he was moving his business
So
from
close.
Manhattan to Santa Monica.
Wow.
And then we
Wow.
were like, yeah. But then Nick branched off and he's doing his own thing, and he started 2 companies now. He has one in Arizona, one in Boulder.
Wow. What does
So
he
we
do?
moved back to Boulder. Marketing.
Okay.
But-
Easy answer.
All right, enough about him.
Yeah,
That's
no,
just I
Um,
know.
So
that's fine.
Don't ask me details.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
enough.
I
know.
love that. I love that. So would you consider Boulder like where you want to stay indefinitely?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we bought a home here. We
Cool.
plan on being here long term, raising our kids. It's
Awesome.
amazing. Love it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to Boulder.
Me neither.
I've been everywhere else in Colorado.
Yeah,
but
I've
not
never
Boulder.
been. I've never been to Colorado.
You guys
at
would
all.
love it. Bring Michelle, because I know she would want to move here.
Oh,
Oh, I can totally see when you were like Michelle and her talk all the time. Now talking to her, I'm like, oh my god, you guys are like this really similar.
Oh.
You talk really similar. You're so cute.
I know they do.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah.
I agree.
I love her.
Okay, so Awesome. So you said you started doing photography when you started pursuing it, I guess, when you came to Boulder the first time, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so what did that look like for you? Like, were you specifically like pursuing weddings?
No. So I actually, well, take that back. I was doing photography kind of as a hobby when I was in college, getting my undergrad in Illinois. And so I was just like doing, gosh, it's like mortifying to think of those pictures, but it was like weird ass selfies of myself and like flower fields with the tripods and all of that stuff.
Been there.
Like, yes. And one girl that
Stephanie, I
with,
still do that. So
yeah, he still does.
yeah, but we're like better at it. We're better
That's
at
true.
it.
That's true.
But yeah, so then a girl I was working with at the time, she was like, oh my gosh, you're so good, like you have to do my wedding. I'm like, absolutely not. Long story short, she talks me into it, and it just kind of like snowballed of just like people asking. Of course, I was doing it for like $5 a wedding.
Right.
But then when I moved out to Colorado, and I didn't have kids, didn't have like really any responsibilities. So I was just like exploring this new like West vibe, like mountains were different here and like the trees and everything. And I was just shooting a lot more and I created like an Instagram, and that kind of was blowing up, and it was just like a word of the mouth thing.
Okay. So your business, would you say it picked up like here or there in Boulder specifically?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And then were you pretty like passionate about it right away as it started picking up? Like, were you like, oh my God, like this is so fun. Like I'm having such a good time. I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's why it made it so easy for me not to go to grad school. Cause I was like, I'm having a blast. This is like awesome. Maybe this is the path I'm supposed to be on. And yeah.
Okay. And what year was this? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm really bad.
How long have you been doing it?
Oh gosh, like 10 years.
10 years?
So yeah. What is it?
Okay.
What year is this? I don't know. I'm bad at math, okay?
That's okay.
I didn't have to do a lot of math in college, okay?
Yeah, like 10 years.
10 years. That's enough.
all we need.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Moving on.
And then, so you moved to New York after that, and did you kind of like, was it easy for your business to move over there with you? Or did you go to Arizona first? Yeah,
I went to Arizona first. And that's kind of when I started discovering, I had like one client specifically who had like booked me. She found me on an ad. And she was like tatted, like motorcycle babe, like that's kind of where I discovered I'm like, oh, I kind of like this kind of clientele and like shooting this kind of couple and stuff like that. And I'd say that's when I got inspired to do more edgier work. And then when I moved to New York and I saw, and it was my first time in New York, like never even visited it before. And then I saw like all these different cultures and people, and just like they don't care how they look, like how they act, anything like that. And I'm like, wow, so inspired. So yeah,
I was gonna say that I feel like Cami was asking me like, how would you describe Stephanie's style? And I was like, well, definitely edgy, but I feel like most of it is that these people do not care what anyone thinks about them. They're going to do what they want to do. Exactly. And that's so the vibe. Cool. It's the vibe you put off yourself, and then that your work obviously puts off. So we definitely want to dig into that a little bit more in a minute, but so
I have got some things to ask and say. I'm so excited in a good way. In a good way.
Okay, so you have obviously, created an image of yourself and this like brand of yourself, and you've gotten to be very popular in our industry specifically. When do you feel like, I guess, your like rising star situation happened? Like, when did you start to really grow that? When did people really start to be like, oh my God, like, do you follow From the Daisies?
Oh gosh.
You see that thing that she put out there? She just did a shoot in a dumpster. Did you see that?
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't really grow off of any of that stuff. I grew like, my Instagram really blew up when I was more of like a travel photographer, and I was traveling all the time, like internationally. I was just taking everything and anything that was super adventurous. And that's actually when I grew the most. But so as far as like all the creative stuff now, it's actually been a transition. Even like the post that I did yesterday was so different, and I lost like 65 followers from it. So I feel like my following is starting to transition, because I got
65 out of the like sweats.
Well,
tens of thousands.
I feel like I feel like it's surprising that anyone left anyway, because you post stuff like that all the time.
Yeah,
So
and I
I'm like,
just,
what were you expecting?
yeah, it's just like I grew, but it's also like I'm not growing, but then I'm like regrowing at the same time, if that makes sense. It's like
Well,
no
you've recreated
matter.
yourself in a way.
Exactly. It's like
Mhm.
when I change, my following is going to change too.
Yeah, for
So
sure. For
yeah.
sure. I totally understand that. So you kind of stopped doing, I mean, I'm not going to say you stopped doing weddings or anything like that, because I know you still do, but it's more everything that you're putting out there is not like just the classic wedding look, which even when it was like classic wedding photos that you were taking, they obviously had your edge to it. But now everything that you share is unique and creative and just different. And so
Yeah.
you're saying that like people follow you now for that new style. And are you going to kind of
I
keep
feel
that
like,
up?
yeah, I think so. And I feel like, I mean, it has a lot to do with me and like
Mhm.
growing as a person. Like 10 years ago when I started, I was not this like edgier. I wasn't like super comfortable with being like a sexual person and all of that
Uh-huh.
stuff. Like I was very like conservative, like didn't want to do anything like against like what I believed in and religiously and all of that stuff. And just now I've just changed and I just feel like I'm like, oh, I'm like figuring out who I am and what I like. And at this moment of my life, like this is just who I am now. So it's easy to express that in my photos because it's genuinely who I am.
When would you say that I guess transition from who you were before to now started?
Um, I would honestly say when I moved to Arizona, and I
Oh
feel
well.
like it's just because, like I said, I grew up in the Midwest, like, and I don't want to say it's closed-minded, but it's definitely there's not culture there. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
for
you
sure.
grow up thinking like one thing, which is great. Like I loved how I grew up. I loved everybody like around me and all that stuff. But then when I moved out to Colorado, I'm like, oh wow, look at like all this different scenery and stuff. But then when I moved to Arizona, I was like, wow, look at all these different like people and like
Mm,
their culture down here is even just different too. So
yeah.
yeah, I think that was just like kind of the start of it. And then like New York, obviously I was like, oh holy shit, this is actually what I
Hmm.
like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. New
Yeah,
York will kind of like just finish that up for you, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
The culture experience.
So
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's really cool. So why don't you tell us more about, because so we kind of were talking about how your style is edgy, and we feel like the people that are drawn to you and the people that or the subjects that you share are obviously like they don't care about people's opinions. They want to just be who they are. And that's something I super admire about your work.
Dude, yeah.
So
Oh, thank
would
you.
you
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that your, I guess, inspiration and muse kind of came from your transition? I don't know if that's the right word. Or like, you know what I mean? Like when you started to kind of like grow out of that old Midwest ideology
Do
and like
you
experience
give
culture.
less fucks now?
Well, I mean, I
Yes,
think that's
I
obvious.
do. I definitely do. I feel like wait, reword that question. What exactly are
So
you asking?
you're about your inspiration. So your
Oh,
work
got it.
reflects who you are. And is that where most of your inspiration comes from, is just from the change that you went through specifically?
I would say yes and no. I would say I'm more because I'm like changing as a person and evolving. I would say that I'm more open to like seeing the world differently, if that makes sense. But as far as
Totally.
like my inspiration, I think it's just a little bit of naturally who I am as a person and the kind of art I like to create. Like the garbage can one that you had mentioned earlier, like that's just
The garbage can shoot.
yes, I know it sounds
I love that
ridiculous,
you said
but
that.
that was even just something in my head. I was like to my florist, I was just like, okay, just hear me out. I have this vision, and I think it just has a big part to do of just like I just see things differently sometimes, and like
Mm,
yeah, I'm just inspired by the unique, I guess.
okay.
So my question for you is, and if anyone listening doesn't follow you, you have to go look at her feed right now for
Yes.
context so you know what we're talking about. But when I look at your feed, I'm like, well, one, if I were to get photos done now, I would like want them to look like what you do. Like I'm like,
Oh,
I like see myself in your work. I'm like, oh, I feel like I would be like
I
one of
love
your
that.
people.
Oh, I love
She said
that.
this to me earlier
I
too.
did. I'm
She's
not
just
saying
bullshitting
that.
you.
Yeah,
Oh.
like, yeah, I'm getting unmarried right now. And when I get remarried someday again, maybe, I don't know, or just want like hot photos of me and
Yeah.
whoever I'm with next.
I
I'm like,
got you. I got
I
you.
want them to look like what you do.
I
So
got
we
it.
will, so it's just so cool and edgy and weird. And I love it. And my question is like, are you shooting other stuff you're not posting? Because Gabe and I were talking a lot about the idea of like niching down and like
Yes.
Oh, yes.
this was the conversation we had when we were excited to have you on. Because I think we are both people who are like, we want to be for everyone. So we like shoot everything and post everything. But then I see like your work and I'm like, whoa, are you literally only attracting these kinds of clients, or is that just what you're sharing?
Yeah. And I will say, I know everybody is so like, look at me, I'm the photographer for everyone. And this is probably not a nice thing to say, but I'm not a photographer for everyone. I'm a photographer for a very specific couple, very specific person. And I don't mean that by looks. I don't give a shit
yeah,
what you look like.
totally.
Yeah.
I need a couple that I'm going to like mesh with personally. They're going to trust my vision. They're not going to be too controlling, because I'm sure you guys have had it before where it's like, oh, like I have this shot list, I want you to do it. No, I'm not doing no stupid shot list. Like, you're either going to trust me and we're going to work together on this, or we're not going to be like a compatible. Yeah. And I mean, I'm a mother now with 2 children. If I'm going to take time away from them, it's going to be because I'm going to a wedding or a shoot or something that I love. So
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. Otherwise I'm not doing it.
That is very cool. So to
that
just
came off
jump.
So
no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
I was saying I like that. I was what I was saying when I was like, we're, you know, we try to kind of be the photographer for everyone. I wasn't saying like, because we're better. I was saying, because I'm like, but because I've been wanting to kind of niche, but I'm like, man, do people who do that, are they literally only taking what they want, or are they just sharing those things? So I was like, are you also shooting like a lot of other types of people and different types of looks of things, you're just choosing not to share it?
I actually don't share all of my work, and there's some stuff that I love so much, and I just have it like on my website, and I haven't posted on Instagram just because like it might be a concept that I was like really, really proud of, and like I just don't want it to get like mooched and copied. So I kind of like keep it on my website, blog it a lot, do my SEO magic so it's like ranking before anybody else can like go in, take that idea and try to recreate it themselves.
Does this happen to you a lot?
Yes, a lot, but at the same time, I also love sharing my concepts and stuff and having other people be really inspired by it and like create it themselves and put their own twist on it, being the key word, putting their own twist on it.
Yes. No, we love that. We talk about that all the time.
That before. Yeah.
Putting your own twist on things. Yeah, that's really cool. Have you seen I don't know why I'm thinking of this. Have you seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
No, is that the one where he's like young, but he's old?
No, that's Benjamin Button. Well, it's all about this national or this famous photographer that shoots for Times Magazine, and he goes to do all these crazy adventurous things.
Benjamin Button.
I know, right? And he does all these crazy adventurous things, and this one guy's just trying to find him pretty much because they like can't find him. And so he finds him, and there's this one scene where the guy is shooting this like snow leopard, and he's taking photos of these like snow leopards that no one has ever seen before, or something like that. And he was like, oh, actually, like, I'm not even going to take this photo because like just experiencing it in this way and not sharing it with the world was way more important to me than, you know, actually doing it. That's just what it reminded me of, is that you said you have like some of your most special work you just keep on your website. And it's like almost like people have to seek it out in order to find it, which makes it even more exciting. I think that's a really cool thing, because I would have thought that you would only share your favorite work, but you're almost saying the opposite, is that you keep your like the stuff you're most proud of, I guess, to showcase on your website only. Now you need to stop your website.
Sometimes like I'll end up posting it, but kind of like after like my SEO has done its job. You know what I mean? After it's like done a little bit, because like it is important for like potential clients to see that work. And like, I know that Instagram is like, people are going more to my Instagram than my website, but also people who follow me and they want to book me and they have been for like a while, they do go to my website and they're like, oh, look at this one or something, you know. It's like new and refreshing for like my potential client to see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dig a little bit more into how you find inspiration. So you said that you, like with your garbage can idea, you like have these crazy ideas, right? Okay, so like where does it normally come from? Are you like a visual person? Do you see things? Do you actually like look for inspiration, or like what's the process there?
Yeah, I don't really look for inspiration. It's kind of just like I am going around, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, that would be really awesome to shoot. And it just kind of comes to me, I guess. So like visually, if I'm like going around, I'm like inspired maybe by like how a couple is reacting to each other, or like the couch in the desert that I did with the TV, that came because I found like when I lived in New York and people were just throwing everything out and they don't have like traditional trash cans and stuff like that. And it's just like an old couch on the side of the road. And I'm like, that's really inspiring to me. And kind of like that. But sometimes I do just like have ideas too, and I like keep them in my phone on like a little pad. And so if I am ever coming like across something, I'm like, oh yeah, that would be like a really good way to execute this idea or something like that. So
okay, cool. So what does the process look like from when you think about it to actually executing it?
Basically it depends. So a lot of my clients, it's kind of like maybe 80-20 right now, whether my clients want to do something like creative and different for like their engagement shoots or something, or if they want to keep it traditional. So like I said, on my phone, I have kind of like a list of things. And so say I get a client who they're like, I want to do something creative, like we trust you, like what do you have? So then I kind of go through like a little interview process with them and kind of get like what their vibe is going to be and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, wait, I have like a really great idea for this. Like,
so like you'll reference back to your ideas on your phone.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, I think this would
couple.
be really good. Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
For example, if like one of the couples I have is like, they're like, they don't want to get like naked, like some of my posts and like, yeah. And they don't want to be like on the sexual side, but they want something different like that. The family session I did where they were in pastels with that pastels baby's breath, like they wanted something really different, but like they're not going to give off like sexual vibes. And plus they're posing with their little daughter, you know? So I'm like, okay, so like this part of my list is out, but like I have these other ideas. I'm like, oh, pastel would be great. Like, oh, you want to incorporate flowers? Like, here's what I'm thinking for flowers. But like, instead of doing it traditional, let's like spray paint them, and just kind of like ballparks off of who the client is. Because one, a lot of people think all the stuff I post is styled, and it's not. Like, I'm getting paid for it. And so it's just a matter of time of when I'm going to get the right client to help me execute that idea.
I think that's really cool. Is like, you're actually, because you put off this vibe that all of the shoots that you share are niche down, like Cami was saying, like people literally hire you because they want you to create for them. They want you to create unique, interesting stuff for them.
I'm gonna be straight up. I assumed everything you posted was your own personal styled work, and that your paid work was like other shit you just weren't posting. And that was what my like assumption was.
Yeah, a lot of people assume that, and they think that like if there's flowers on a shoot that I'm paying for the flowers, which isn't true. My clients pay for the flowers. Like I recommend or I suggest to them like florists to work with and all of that stuff. But yeah, and I mean, not all of my clients want something like so out of the box and different, but they still hire me for like my style of like posing or just like human interaction and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, what I think is really cool about everything you're saying too is that it just really proves that you don't have to find these, you know, perfect stereotypical models in order to create this unique, awesome stuff that people love to do and that you love to do. And that it really, anyone can fit that mold as long as they have the right mindset.
Yep.
And, you know, the desire to fit that mold. I was telling Cami too, like I have clients who will like share these like editorial looks with me, and like I'll think back on like the engagement shoot I did with them, like inspo for their wedding, and I'm like, I don't know if you're really capable of that, not because of how you look, but just because I know your mindset, and I know
like the
who
energy
you
they'll
are.
bring.
Like there's a certain energy that you have to be able to put out in order to do that, and so you're attracting those people, but you're also, I just love that you're showing that like anyone can fit that mold as long as they choose, and they like choose to have that energy and that excitement, and allow you, to carry it out and trust you.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Honestly, if you looked at all the couples that I post on my feed, some of them are just so different from each other, like personality wise, but I feel like something that makes you a strong photographer in your brand is having it be so cohesive. And it's like you couldn't tell, like you would think that like half of these people are all like models or something like that, but it's all about like you as a photographer being strong in your brand and being able to execute it no matter who your client is. But also, like I said, I am picky with my client, and like we have to hit it off.
Right. So you have to hit it off. And then do you do any sort of like prep with them? It's like in order to get into that mindset, for example, of like, I don't know, like trust me to let you get weird, or like to get, like, I don't know. Cause I feel like not everyone can just pose that way, right? Or like feel comfortable posing that way. So like, is there prep work that you do with them either like before the shoot or like directly before the shoot, or like even like in calls and stuff like that beforehand, where you like kind of talk things through with them? Or is it more just in the moment you show up and you're able to
it's in the moment. I actually do know like pre-work before. I don't call my clients. Like 90% of my clients are all booked through email. I even do my follow-ups, like my questionnaire and all that stuff is all email. I sometimes, if I'm in the area, like if I have an LA bride and I'm like in the area, I'm like, oh, let's meet up, or something out of state. Most of my Colorado ones I meet up with beforehand, but we also almost always do an engagement session or a couple session before, because that's my prep.
Right. For sure.
Like that's how I go into it. I never really want to go into a wedding, never shooting or never talking to them before.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think that's why they feel so comfortable on their wedding day, like doing something a little bit different, like posing wise, or like just like what I have them pose next to, because they just understand, because they've shot with me before and they were happy.
You built that trust.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So
awesome.
I don't get on phone calls. I hate phone calls.
Yeah.
And I don't bring music to sessions. I don't do anything.
I don't either.
No, I think
I used to.
Too busy. It's too much.
I agree.
No, I'm just simple.
I love it. Well, I mean, you obviously are able to make everyone feel comfortable into doing these things, because I remember Michelle and I did a shoot with Kaylee a few years ago, Kaylee Kaczynski, and she.
Oh yes, I was at that one. We were right next
to each
other.
That's right. Yes. That's where we met. And I remember being really, really, really nervous for it, because I was like, hun, like Kaylee's like a little different, like from what we've done in the past. Like she's a little like weirder, more like editorial. I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but it was like a piece of cake. It felt like nothing because of who Kaylee was, and so it was just, that's what I think about. And like we didn't do prep with her either, but it was just like, she was just like, oh, do this, like it'll look good, and we're like, oh, I guess I trust you.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what makes a good photographer. It's like you don't go in and prepping all your couples, because I feel like if you give them too much prep, they're thinking about it way too much.
Totally.
You know, and it's like you don't know what the environment is going to look like and all that stuff. And I feel like for me, I'm just a visual person. When I get there, I'm just like, okay, what am I going to do? And like I'm also not somebody who is just continuously like, okay, do your movement, do that. Like I like to sit there and I'm like, okay, let me see what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I get them in like a pose, because I'm very pose motivated, which I know some photographers are not like that. They like constant movement, which is like great. It's just not necessarily my style. But how I get my movement is I always start with a pose, because I'm very pose heavy. So I get them into a pose, and then as they're posing, I'm like, okay, just do like this a little bit. And that's how I just am a very subtle movement type of person.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I love that.
I know. I love that too. And you're probably the first person that's ever said that. But
I know. I feel
love
like
it.
a lot
No,
of
it's
people are very
cool.
like movement, all of this. That's how I get my natural
Well, I
stuff
think we
against
can all
the
learn from that.
posing.
Yeah, I
Love
feel like we can all
posing.
learn from that, especially like, you know, I'm not as much in that place, but I'm definitely like in a heavy shooting place. And a lot of it is more like probably because it came from originally like distrust in myself and like making sure
Yeah.
that like I gotta shoot a lot so that I'm not missing anything. And
Exactly. Yeah.
it's cool. Like, yeah, I feel like also like I always felt like my clients, I'm like, if there's ever like silence, then they feel awkward. I'm like, no, they don't. Like they're fine. They have each
No,
other.
yeah, they
They
don't.
can
Yeah.
just say hi to each other and
Yeah,
just talk about
yeah,
how it's going. Like
yeah.
they don't care what
That's
we're
such
doing.
a myth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can, like, I get clients who do like the silence is a little bit awkward. And so I'll break it up as I'm like adjusting my settings or something like that. And I'm just like making small talk, but like
Yeah.
that's just being able to read your client, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
doesn't mean you have to talk all the time. I
Totally.
don't. I'm quiet.
Let's get into a little bit about I mean, you know, you're a mom, you have 2 kids and you have a husband who also works a lot. And so can you tell us a little bit about, I guess that, but does he work from home, your husband?
No, he doesn't. He's actually in Arizona right now in his office
Oh,
in Arizona.
wow.
Yeah.
So
he
you're like
has an off-
literally me and the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're down. One's at school and one's downstairs with our nanny. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Have you found it hard to, I guess, balance the family life with you also, you know, both of you pursuing these awesome jobs that you have?
I would say with Stevie, I did, because when I just had Stevie, I was not expecting to change my photography lifestyle at all. And before Stevie, I was like wedding every weekend, sometimes back-to-back weddings. Sometimes I would have like a wedding in New York and then like a wedding in like Chicago back-to-back, like taking red eyes, just insane. Don't know why I was doing
Disgusting.
that to myself.
Yeah,
we've all done that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it's
Like,
bad.
why do you do it? And then like when I had Stevie, I was just like, oh, nothing's gonna change. Like I found this like great sitter and like I can still work full time, blah, blah, blah. And that's just like not the kind of mom I wanted to be. Like I learned real quick that I was just like, I overbooked myself. Like nursing was really important to me and I completely fucked that up because like I was just working all the time. And so with Saint, when I had him, I completely changed everything. And even with Stevie, the year following, I just took on less work and up my prices so I could balance it out. And that's kind of like what I did with Saint. I just take on less work, more intentional work. So I'm like being fulfilled in my job, but I'm also being present with my children. Yeah. And I just make a very strict schedule.
Saint.
I know.
Saint.
I love both of their names. They both have great names.
They're cuties.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so I guess, did you have what am I trying to think of? So Stevie is how old?
She's 3.
She's 3. And so for how long when would you say that you, I guess, got to this place where you were like kind of figured out what your priorities were specifically, I guess, and like how you balance that?
I would say like a year after having Stevie, I was just like, something has to change. And so that's when I started being more like intentional with my work so I could be more intentional at home. And even like today, like my sitter, it's very strict schedule. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are work days. Monday, Tuesday are full work days, like 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m., like full on. But then Wednesday, Stevie's at school and I do like a half kind of work day thing so I can have intentional time with Saint. And then Thursday, I have a sitter come, but she just watches Saint so I can have like a full day with Stevie. And then Friday,
this is awesome, Stephanie. I love this.
You're sweet. And then Friday is time with both of my kids, but then a sitter comes from like 4 to 9 and then I have a date night with Nick. So I'm like making sure that every relationship is like fulfilled and intentional, but I still have work. Yeah. So
that is incredible.
So awesome.
You guys
Good for
are
you.
sweet.
Well,
I love
intentionality
that.
is something that I think is really hard for, I feel like even specifically for creative people, because we're all over the place, you know? And so if the fact that you have the discipline and, you know, obviously the real love for your family to make sure that that happens is really cool. Really, really
and
cool.
I mean, I'm very fortunate. I mean, I know that there's so many people out there that like don't have this flexibility. Like they have to work Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5. So I'm very, very blessed and lucky that I get to do it how I.
But it's cool that you're taking advantage of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's easy to like when you have so much flexibility, and I think about this for myself and the kids too. Like I have so much flexibility. My schedule is whatever I want it to be, which means that I could work 80 hours a week if I wanted to, or I could work none if I wanted to, you know? Exactly. And for a time it's easy to be like, oh, well, I want to be successful. And like me too, like specifically, I'm very success driven. So it's like, oh, well, here's more money coming my way. Like, why would I deny that? I'm available.
Exactly. Yeah.
So hard to say no.
It's so hard to say no.
It is.
But then
it's
you
really
see
hard.
what you're missing. And I feel like this last year with COVID happening and like not having work just at all, it was easier to be like, oh, this is what we're missing, you know, this awesome time that like now we have this year where it's like, you know, a shit show.
Exactly.
Like, man, I wish I had that again. So yeah, I really commend you. I think that's really awesome that you do that. And it's not,
I agree.
Not common.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yay. Okay. Last thing we want to talk about.
Okay.
You just had a post removed yesterday 3 times.
Oh yeah, I did.
So I guess we just want to know your thoughts. You talked about how you do have like, you know, clients you want to do, you do some more sexual work and then you do some less sexual work, obviously. So like talk us through, I guess, like, you know, when you do get these posts removed, what goes through your mind? What is it like? I've never had a post removed.
Must be nice.
I haven't either. And I'm almost like, I'm disappointed I haven't.
I know, I feel less cool.
I think it means I haven't been pushing the boundaries.
I know. We need to be
We've been playing it safe.
You're our inspiration now. We got to be edgy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your goal. Get your post removed.
Yeah.
You're not successful till you are.
Yes, I know. That's how I'm feeling. I'm like, man, why haven't I been sexual enough?
Not true.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what happened and then I guess what you do, how your reaction is, what you think about it.
Okay. So I posted a morning after session, which was kind of like not an important post, but like I really valued that post, I guess, because it was just work I was really proud of. Like my clients were like, even more importantly, they were just like stoked about this, like absolutely loved it. Like
the photos were so sick.
Yes. And they were just like, that was like a session that she just like completely trusted me. And I'll preface this with like, I had shot her before in like a very skin-esque like element. So like I went into this session knowing like her comfortability. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
Completely nude in these.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But you couldn't see anything. You can't see anything. But so yeah, we were just like really excited about this. Like they wanted to do a morning after session. Like I was pumped. It's kind of like a new thing in the industry to kind of do something like this. So I was like, well, it is and it isn't, but it was like new to do it in a way that I had done it.
Totally.
So we were both proud of it. So I posted it and it was doing like insane within like 48 minutes. It already had 1,800 likes, which is like, that tells me that like, oh, it's showing up on like the organic feed, like, which is great. Cause that's always your goal. You want to be on like the organic feed. So it was cool and we were excited, but then I like got on and it's like, your post got removed. And I was like, of course it did. And
but did you go into it expecting that it would?
I kind of
looking at them again.
Kind of. And, just because of like Instagram and like, my husband actually works very closely with Instagram. So like, I kind of know like the rules and like, I know they have like bots that kind of like see stuff and flag it. But typically if it's going to get flagged, it's like, because there's like nipples that are out or like full on butt crack and like, which I didn't have that. So I was kind of surprised.
Okay.
So strategic and tasteful. All these photos are like, you can't see anything, but she's nude. It's so cool.
Oh, thank you.
I want you to photograph me like that.
Girl, I will. I got
you. Just wrap me up in a veil. I love you.
Yes, I got you. But where was I going with that? Oh,
so
yes.
it got removed.
Yes, got removed. But I can, because we're tech savvy people, and I can see that it was like a person that reported it. It was 3 people actually that reported my photo, and I was pissed.
Report this? Someone
Yes.
reported this?
Yes. And that's a whole other story, but I appealed it and then actually ended up getting like posted back because Instagram was like, that was silly. But feeling about it, like seeing that like somebody actually reported it, like it just sucked because somebody had actually replied to my story that I had shared, like, oh, my post got taken down, that sucks, whatever, don't care, I'm gonna repost it. They said something along the lines of like, I guarantee they're like not posting it because they're offended, they're probably posting it because like they don't like you as a person, they don't like your work, they don't want you to do well.
The people
And
that are
I'm like,
reporting it, you're saying, right?
yes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, damn, that sucks. And it doesn't tell me who reported it, it just says like 3 accounts reported it. And I was like, that sucks. And so like I was just like feeling like crap for like a little bit. I was just like, why are people so mean? Like if you don't like my post, like for whatever reason, just like unfollow me.
Yeah.
But then I ended up just like posting because I was like, you know, like I can relate. Like when I was starting off, like I remember I used to be so jealous of like Phil Chester. Never met him in my life. Like don't know who he is, but I just remember his like art was just so like, I just felt like I could never get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I actually still don't even follow him to this day, even though his work is just incredible. But I just know it's not healthy for me because that is one photographer that I will constantly compare myself to and feel like I'm not going to be good enough.
I love that you just
him.
said that because we've talked about this.
We have talked about this
a
in the past
lot
episode and
in
how
past
healthy it is.
episodes.
That's a healthy
Yeah.
thing to do.
There was a time when I had to unfollow and mute him.
Oh,
One of my best friends. Because he was getting
like you're too good. You're too good. Yes.
I
yes.
was like, slow down. I'm insecure.
Yes. Yeah. So
No, that
it
makes
is what
sense.
it is. And so I'm just like trying to tell myself, I'm like, that's probably all it was, is like, and not even, that sounds so ego of me, but I'm like, maybe
Oh,
it's just like this
no.
person
No, that's not
is
ego-
just
egotistical at
like,
all.
Some 3 people must
Yeah.
be really threatened to have done that.
that's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, it could be a possibility. So I'm just like, I just hope I'm just like, unfollow me, like go out there and like try to challenge yourself to like create work that you're proud of, blah, blah, blah. And
Has this happened to you before?
It has, yes. And I don't know. It is what it is. I think what's so annoying is that it gets deleted, but then I see like other accounts like
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner and stuff like that who are posting their bare
Yes.
ass and stuff, and
Yeah.
they don't get reported. And I'm like, I posted like a mother breastfeeding and her like other nipple was out, but that got reported. And like, obviously she was so comfortable with it because I would never, ever post
Right.
anything. Like there's some sessions I have that are amazing, but they're so revealing and they're not comfortable. So like I don't post, but like when my client is comfortable and then like they're excited and then like it gets taken down because of something so stupid like that, I'm like, just sucks, but it is what it is. It'll be on my website and whatever. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you brought up how you could see how many people had reported it. And I think I've actually thought about that in the past of like, oh, like in order for these things to get taken down, they have to be reported. Like Instagram doesn't see them, I'm assuming, unless they get reported. Am I wrong
they
in
do
assuming
have
that?
yes, Instagram does have bots that constantly like screen the
Check.
photos.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so if there's like a butt crack that's out or there's like nipples that are out, it could even just be a bot. Yeah, it could be a bot that does it. But also,
but then
if you're,
reporting
like,
it's like they can miss something.
yeah,
so they won't
reporting
pay more
it could
attention.
be like, yeah, and if like somebody reports it is like sexual harassment or something like that, then Instagram like doesn't take too lightly to that.
Got it.
But like I appealed it, and then somebody in the Instagram world looked at it and was just like, yeah, this is not like sexual offense or anything like that. So
that is so interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting. Well, here it is now, doing well.
Yeah.
As are
Joke's
you.
on you.
Joke's on you. Point, Stephanie.
You're like,
I
this
will
made me
post
blow
no
up
matter
even
what.
more.
I know. I was like, I will post it no matter how many times it gets deleted. So you can keep on keep on reporting
Deleting.
me. Yeah.
Man.
I'll keep on posting. At one point it was like posted twice on my feed because like I reposted it, but then the other one like came back because Instagram, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna let this sit here for a little bit. Rub it in your
Yeah.
face. It's on my feed
Yep.
twice.
It's on my feet twice.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm a catty Scorpio bitch. Whatever.
I love you. You are so spicy.
I
So
am
like for that
feisty.
morning after session, did you also shoot their wedding and then you shot the
I
morning after
did.
session? Cool.
Yep, their wedding was the day before, and then they did a morning after session. Yeah.
Cool. Oh,
It's fun.
cool.
Okay, so we're heading towards the end, but I want to ask you one more question. So I don't know. I guess I want to know, is there anywhere that you are headed? Like, is there anything coming up in the future for you? Something that you want to explore? You gonna stick to your, I guess, edgy editorial style for now, or do you like have other things you want to do? Like, what's next for Stephanie Fisher?
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep doing weddings because I
Okay.
really do enjoy doing weddings, but I don't
Awesome.
want to do as much. Like I want to do weddings where it's like that Joshua Tree one where I can like really express like my style and all
Totally.
of that stuff. I don't, not to say traditional weddings are not my vibe, because I actually did like a traditional wedding last month, but like the couple again was just like incredible. Like we posed on things that like you wouldn't typically think, and
Totally.
it's funny because that for that wedding, the like wedding planner who had like, it was in Santa Barbara, so obviously I'm not local, and she is this wedding planner, and she's like, so photographers typically go over here, and I'm like, honey, I'm not your typical photographer.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm actually gonna avoid those spots.
Yeah, we're now
Yeah.
posing over there. Yeah. So
yeah.
I love
Like just because you said that, I now don't want
exactly.
to use
I'm
that.
like,
I
we are
know.
not doing that. So yeah, I
That's
do want
funny.
to stick with weddings, but I also want to jump a little bit into like doing some branding and brand work, but only for,
Ooh.
I know, I'm excited, but only for brands that will, that's the thing, is I love like couple settings. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Or like a small group of like females or like males or something that I can, because I'm very like human connection based. So I want
Totally.
it to be brands that want me to express my brand into their
Awesome.
brand. If that
Mhm.
makes sense. Yeah.
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 So when
But yeah.
you're saying you're gonna shoot for brands, right? That for some reason when I heard like you were gonna do like branding work, like I instantly went to like, oh, like website design. I was like, oh, I didn't know you did that. No, shooting for
Absolutely
brands.
not. Yes.
For brands.
Yes.
It's like,
Shooting
geez,
for
she's got many
brands.
talents over here.
No.
Biology.
Not doing that.
She's also a graphic designer and brander.
Yeah.
apparently.
Jeez,
Absolutely
Stephanie.
not. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
no.
Well, I'm excited to see that. I
Yeah.
feel like that's gonna be really cool. And
Oh,
like, I
thank
feel
you.
like just like your weddings and your couple work, like those specific clients will find you pretty like easy. The one when they find you, they'll be like, oh yeah, like this is totally
Yeah.
exactly what we are going for. I feel like
Aw.
because you got such a niche, your niche will find you really quickly.
Oh, thank you. That's very
Yeah.
sweet. Thank you. guys.
Also last little question from me. You do a lot of flash work. Super
Ooh.
cool.
Super cool.
Super cool. Do you have any advice for people to like I don't know, just like start experimenting with their flashes more, like where to start, how to
Yes.
get good at it? Do you have like any advice there?
Honestly, to not think about it too much. Like
Oh, love
I
that.
I think what inspired me so much to do flash work is like disposable cameras that just have that
Yeah.
automatic flash, you know? And
Yes.
so that's how I treat my camera. Like I switch everything up to flash moments. I'm doing manual, and then as soon as it gets to where I want to do flash, I hit it into auto. Like I don't mess with my
Everything
Kelvin.
auto?
Yes, everything auto.
Everything.
Yes, I don't mess with my Kelvin anymore. I don't mess with my ISO, my f-stop, any of that.
So
I
you're
just
telling
let-
me your flash work, your flash photos, you just put your camera on auto.
Yeah, girl, it's
I
not
love
as
that.
hard as everybody thinks. And then my
I love that.
flash is like a cheap compared to some. It's like a $400 Canon Cat flash. I just put it on my camera. I do very, very minimal like adjustments on there, and I just let it fire away. That's all I do.
Amazing.
Like so easy.
At weddings too, like
Yeah.
when you would put a
Yes, at weddings, yes, but at receptions when people are dancing crazy, that's
Yeah.
just when I fire, because I love the messy dancing shots.
me too.
But if it's something like more like the first dance or the speeches or something like that, I might use my cube light. So it's just set and everything's gonna for sure be in focus and all of that stuff.
But like for dancing shots, you're just setting your camera on auto.
No, I'm just going like fucking crazy.
Yes.
I love that. Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Auto. You're telling me auto.
That's auto. Yeah.
You
bitch.
I can't.
It's not as hard as people think.
I can't wait to play with that.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Man,
immediately.
photographers are such snobs.
We really are.
You
I know
can
how to
use
use
so
my
much
flash.
equipment.
Okay, I
So
was
much
obsessed
shit.
with this session. Auto?
Yeah, that's all auto. Yeah. Oh, you're hilarious.
Oh my god, I love it.
I want to go do something like this now.
It's so
weird.
easy.
I love it.
That's so fun. Okay, well, we could talk to you for hours, but let's close it here.
To you forever.
Oh, you guys are sweet.
Stephanie, thank you so much. This was so fun. We loved having you.
Yeah.
We know everyone's gonna love this.
Yes, they will.
Oh,
And
you guys are very sweet.
Well,
love
it was
you
just
guys.
awesome chatting with you.
Yeah, it
And
was.
yeah, we're just excited for this episode to launch. And to everyone listening, once again, this was the incredible Stephanie Fisher, or From the
gosh.
Daisies on Instagram,
Yeah.
if you are looking for her.
You have to be
From
looking at her
the
feed.
Daisies.
From
Oh my
the
gosh.
Daisies. You have to be looking at her feed while listening to this. So you need the context to understand what we're
Aw.
saying.
Yes.
You guys are sweet.
And with that, we will say goodbye.
We will
Thank
say
you once
goodbye.
again for listening to this awesome podcast, which is brought to you by Gabe and Cami. And we're awesome. And
Yes,
you
we
love
are.
us.
And you do.
We will see you next
and you'll
time.
love her.
And you love Stephanie now too.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye.
Bye.